Hi, I'm Elisa, and I chose to research poverty's impact on education. So, this is my overview. The studies show that nearly one-fifth of students nationwide are living in poverty or attending high poverty schools. This negatively impacts students in a variety of ways within K through 12th grade education and beyond, including not having equal access to the same resources that many students do. Statistics show that this disproportionately affects students of color. And I chose to explore this topic because, as a woman of color and future educator, I'm always interested in ways that I can help students with disadvantages. So, before we can talk about how poverty affects education, we have to talk about the income gap. So, according to research from the US Census in 2021, the income gap at the top of the income distribution was 13.53 times higher than the income at the bottom. This was a 4.9% increase from the previous year. So, this represents 3.7 million more children living in poverty as of January of this year. So, as you can see in this graph here, um, all of the dark red states are 18% or more people live below the poverty line. So that's quite a bit. It's 18 and 16% more, um, or 16 to 18% more on the West Coast here. So how does this affect education? So it affects school readiness. So school readiness is defined as children possessing the skills, knowledge, and attitudes necessary for success in school and for later learning in life. Physical, cognitive, and social emotional development are all essential ingredients of school readiness. It's statistically been shown to set the course for future academic success and is critical to later academic achievement. Children living in low income households are significantly less likely to be ready for school. So, the consequences of not being ready for school oftentimes set children up to have failure later in life, like an increased likelihood of truancy, dropout, and unhealthy or delinquent behaviors. So it also significantly impacts students of color. The percentage of children living in poverty are highest for Black and American, Indian, Alaskan, Native children, 34% each, followed by Hispanic children, Pacific Islander children, and children of two or more races. The lowest are of white and Asian children with 11%. So you can see the graph here, and you can see that Black and Native students are the highest low poverty population. So it also impacts the quality of education. Um, so throughout the country, high poverty districts spend 15.6% less per student than wealthier districts, resulting in lower access to resources such as individual computers, guidance counselors, and teacher helpers. So many high poverty schools don't have the resources or the teacher retention that other schools have. This does increase the likelihood that students won't succeed. So in 2019, there was a study conducted in schools in North Carolina, and it found that high poverty schools not only fail to provide adequate and equal educational resources, but they deny students just a sound basic education. So, one opposing view is that high poverty schools can also be high performing schools. So there's much data to support that there is a correlation between poverty and underperforming students. There are some that argue that and point out that it is not impossible for these students to succeed. There are some high poverty, high performing schools that have found ways to address the challenges of educating in high poverty communities. These schools develop strategies such as having effective and collaborative leaders who set high standards and encourage parent involvement. So basically, these schools, um, the principals and the faculty work very closely together to like outline plans to help keep students motivated and to help increase student involvement. And in 2014, there was a study that 92.2% of North Goodwin, the city in North Carolina, fourth graders scored proficient in reading. And these schools' test scores were on par with some of the most affluent in the district. So basically, this argument is saying that, just because a school is living in poverty, or just because a school has students that are living in low poverty areas, that it doesn't necessarily mean that they will not be able to succeed academically. So, this is also kind of goes hand in hand with the previous slide, the myth of the culture of poverty. So there's no denying that poverty statistically negatively impacts students, but the unchallenged biases of educators also play a role in student success. When educators don't dispute their own beliefs about race and class, they may start to anticipate failure. Low-income students and families are often perceived as uncaring and not valuing education the same way that other families do, but research proves this to be false. So, a lot of schools that are underfunded and in low poverty areas have a hard time with teacher retention, and a lot of teachers will say that these students just don't seem motivated and that their parents are not involved and that they don't seem to care. But studies have shown that low income families value their children's success as much as higher income families do. And there is not a culture that kind of underlines and blankets every person that is living in poverty. There's no shared culture. Um, they're just less likely to attend school functions, likely due to the amount of hours that they have to spend at work during the week. So educators must educate themselves about class and poverty in order to create an inclusive learning environment. So there's no denying that poverty impacts education and hurts communities of color, but income doesn't have to determine a student's success. When educators strive to challenge their own biases, this informs their learning. Creating a safe and inclusive learning environment allows all students the opportunity to thrive. So this is sort of my belief here that there's a lot of moving pieces. I think that teachers creating an inclusive, safe, loving learning environment that's informed by their challenged held biases, along with policy change that would implement more funding for schools in low poverty areas, would really make a huge impact on education. Um, if the United States is to remain a world superpower for generations, it's incumbent upon Americans to ensure that disadvantaged students receive the same standard of education that privileged students do. So here are my references. And that's it. Thank you.